So welcome back into our lab configuration. We've just configured IP on all of our routers. We've verified that the interfaces point the way we expect them to and that we can see the routers where we expect to see them. And now all we have to do is get all these lovely routes out to all of the other routers. So let's configure RIP on all three of these. So we'll start up here on HQ. Now on HQ, we have a network that we do not necessarily want to advertise into RIP. We have this 172.18.4 network that is our internet connection. We don't want to send RIP out to the internet, nor do we want to advertise our internet into our internal network, because it probably wouldn't make a big deal. But if you accidentally got a huge route update from the internet, let's say you're running BGP on this router, and you try to inject that into RIP or OSPF, you're going to break your routers because most routers can't handle a routing table that big. So we need to be very careful when we configure RIP on this guy so that we only get the networks we intend. So we'll go into configuration mode. We'll do router RIP. We'll do version 2. We'll do no auto summary because we're going to be using smaller than a Class C subnet masks on most of these networks. So we'll do network 192.168.13.0. And I believe that's all we have to put in there. Yep, so that's it. We'll do 14.0. We'll do 10.0 as well. And we're not going to do this 172.18.4. So that should get RIP up and running on this router here. Let's go ahead and write the config. And we'll go to sales next and we'll configure RIP. And we'll make sure that we're only getting the routes we expect from HQ. So config T, router RIP, version 2. No auto. We're going to do network 192.168.13.0. We're going to do network 192.168.15.0 and network 192.168.11.0. So now we're sending RIP back and forth between sales and HQ. Let's go up here at HQ and see what routes we have. See if we've gotten any RIP routes yet. So let's do show IP route. And we actually have a couple of RIP routes here. There's that .15 network that is the point between sales and R&D. We can actually see that from the HQ router now. And there is the RIP route for the .11 network that is our LAN. And you'll see that it's actually carrying the correct subnet mask up to HQ because we specified the no auto keyword. Sales, do show IP route on this guy as well. We get just the routes we anticipate. We're not getting that internet route that's on the other side of our corporate HQ router. So last but not least is R&D. So there's our routing table on this guy. I'll do config T, the same commands, router, RIP, version 2, no auto. We'll do network 192.168.12.0. We'll do network 192.168.14.0, 192.168.15.0. So at this point, we'll write the config on this guy. Well, let's go over to sales and let's see if we see this 12.0 network over at sales. So if we do show IP route, we do not have that network quite yet, but we've just turned on RIP. So let's give it just a second to send out its first update. So we'll do show IP route on this guy over here, see if we're getting any RIP routes from anywhere. And we are. We've got the 10, 11, and 12 networks over here at R&D. But you'll notice we have two routes to this .13 network. We're learning about 192.168.13.0 from the .14 and the .15 router. So let's do show CDP neighbor detail. So we're learning about the .13 network from HQ and from sales. And the reason for that is that .13 network is the point-to-point between the HQ and sales. So, since this is a distance vector routing protocol, the HQ router says, yes, I know about that 13 network. It is one hop away from me. It's on this serial link over here. The sales router is saying the exact same thing. I know about this .13 network. It is one hop away from me. So if you were to send any traffic to this point-to-point link, there is a chance that it would go across this link and then up to there if you were pinging the HQ router, because the RND sees this network as being equally accessible from both of these. In fact, it makes a little more sense if we move this like so. Now you can see that it sees this network over here as being the same no matter if you go to HQ or to sales. So while that's not the optimal configuration, that works well enough because you're not ever going to be pinging anything on this network other than potentially these interfaces. So now for the test. Let's go onto our RND router and let's ping the loopback interface address on the sales router, 192.168.11.1 from RND. So we do ping 192.168.11.1. We can ping across that serial link to an interface that's on the other side of the sales router. So we know that our routing protocol is working. We're seeing the networks that we expect to see, where we expect to see them. That was a lot simpler than configuring IP, a lot less work anyway. So that completes this section of the lab, and we'll carry on with our other tasks in the next video.